Well, guys, we got one more segment tonight here on Sports Talk with McKinley, and unfortunately it's one that we're doing on the Arkansas Tornadoes. Their season ended, of course, on March the 7th. We had the final Arkansas Tornado game, and I'll tell you what a season it was and what a privilege it was to get to participate with the Arkansas Tornadoes' inaugural season. Of course, Sports Talk is McKinley. We were involved in it big time from the very beginning. We broadcasted the games on hometowntv.net. We also, got to get to know the players and coaches and everyone real well. Unfortunately, the game that we broadcast, the last one on May the 7th, the Tornadoes unfortunately ended up losing ended up being the DCFL runner-up. They lost to them that night. But what a season it was for the Arkansas Tornadoes, Mike. And it was just a privilege to cover them. Great group of guys. Unfortunately, in the game, it turned out athleticism ended up beating them.
Right. Those Arkansas Steelers, they had numerous athletes in the backfield. And we talked about it before the game. We talked about it during the game. If they could get those athletes outside of the defensive end and get the ball outside, then they could make some things happen, and they did. And we saw it on their first drive, which was a three play 69-yard drive. Very fun game to watch. 720 yards of total offense. In fact, the Tornadoes had more yards than the Steelers did. But just so much adversity for the Tornadoes to fight through. I mean, they were on their fourth quarterback, really, because their backup had quit earlier in the season. They went to their running back, Dakota Sutterfield, after Tommy Felicia, their starting quarterback, was injured. And then, of course, Dakota has his foot broken. And then, fourth string, Harley came out and he did a nice job. Excellent game for wide receiver Fry.
Yeah, Josh Fry. I mean, we talked about him possibly being the MVP of that game. Bubba Taylor, Harley Bubba Taylor, he came out and brought it his very first game as a quarterback. And this was his first season playing football, Mike. He played a fantastic game. Josh Fry, everyone played with passion. Unfortunately, I think, breaking down and analyzing the game and watching it over, injuries just ended up being just too much. Of course, we had Sua that went down with an injury. Hopefully he's okay. Of course, the heart of the offensive line, Ronnie Enlow, had a injury as well. I mean, a lot of injuries during that game.
Michael Lindemann, the line was decimated.
I mean, it was just constant injuries they were dealing with that game, and it just seemed like, in the first game we talked about the Steelers were dangerous. They just need to get outside. That game, they managed to get outside, and a lot of it was because of the injuries we had. We wasn't able to seal it, and they were getting around the corner and making plays. And the athletes and, and the injuries, it was just a recipe that it was just too hard for us to overcome. But overall, even despite the loss, the Arkansas Steelers, of course, they ended up going out on the 14th. They played the Greene County team, lost in the championship game. But those are two teams. They beat the Steelers. They almost beat Greene County during the regular season. The Tornadoes were a contender for the DCFL championship this year, Mike.
Right, and you never saw a happier group of players walk off of a field after a playoff loss. You could tell they were proud of themselves. They had every reason to be proud of themselves because they fought through so much adversity. And it was a pleasure covering them with Iron Mike Day and Joey Football and Gil Reynolds, the one and only. Gil Reynolds did such a nice job, bringing the game to, anybody who wanted to watch it on hometowntv.net. And, Eddie Elliott, just a great job bringing that team together and even having a chance to win that game when with 3 plays they're down 8-0, but they didn't lose heart. And I wasn't going to bring this up, but that touchdown at the end of the first half.
It was a touchdown.
It was a touchdown, but it was not called a touchdown. And then even the spiked ball, which I think was spiked with a second left, and then the clock was wiped out. That really took the momentum away from them. Would have cut the lead down to, I think, 22-14 at the time, maybe 22 to 12, 22-14. It was a killer.
And they was getting the ball back in the second half too.
Right, and they scored. They were the first team to score. So it could have easily been, if that play results in a touchdown, and then the Tornadoes get the ball back, we could easily be looking at a 22-22 tie, possibly a. Well, it would have had to have been a tie.
Just
22-22, but they were right in it. But even without that, Dave, they fought and fought and fought and fought, but the Steelers did too. They looked like a completely different team.
Yeah, the Steelers, of course, they had a lot of their offensive line back in that game that was actually out the first game. They looked fresh, whereas we were overcoming injuries. They were just getting a lot of people healthy again. And them being healthy and us with all the injuries we had, it was just an uphill battle from the very beginning. But the Arkansas Tornadoes, they made the community of Mountain Home and all of North Central Arkansas very proud of them. We had a great crowd that turned out for that game. And, great to see all the hard work the boys have put into it. And I'll tell you what, watch the broadcast, go to our Facebook page, watch that game, watch the end of that. Joey Football had so many great interviews. The interview when he talked to Eddie Elliott at the end of the game, the emotion in Eddie Elliott made me so proud to be part of that Tornado organization this year. The passion that he had for it and the emotion and all the effort that he put into it. Because we had so many guys who had never played football before, Mike, and for them to actually compete for a DCFL championship and have an opportunity in the playoffs just speaks so much to Eddie Elliott's leadership. And I enjoyed it so much, calling it with Iron Mike Day. Joey, you did such a great job on the field. And Iron Mike was just such a great play-by-play man. Of course, then we had the Zen Master that was bringing it. It was just a blast, a privilege to be a part of. And the Arkansas Tornadoes, we are so proud of those group of guys. And they need to hold their head high. And I tell you what, I can't wait for 2017.
I'll tell you what, Joey Shaw missed his calling. He should be an on-field reporter because he brought it every game. And the segments that he brought from the field, the interviews, I mean, the way that he wrapped up the game with the team afterwards, what a great job Joey did. And, of course, we love Joey. But even if I didn't know Joey and I watched that game, I'd be thinking, man, that guy's good. He really helped us out in the booth. And, of course, all the stuff that Gil did, just made our job so much easier. One of the things, we always had the players thanking us. Thank you. And I was like, no, thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be part of the Tornado family. And, getting a chance to watch a group of men come together and, bond and fight through any hardships that they faced. It was really a great experience, I think, for all of us. And I can't wait till next year. And if any of you out there didn't get to see the Tornadoes, you missed something, and you'll have another shot next year. You need to come out, because next year I think it's going to be even better.
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, and in closing, too, for those who didn't come out, there's going to be a documentary that's going to be released shortly on Red 6-3 Productions that's going to be talking about the Arkansas Tornadoes. I encourage everyone to kind of check them out. Of course, we'll share it when it comes out on our Facebook page. But year one for the Arkansas Tornadoes was about family. It was a success. It was an honor and a privilege to have the opportunity to even be associated with that organization. And we can't wait for 2017. And speaking of, it's that time. We're at the end of our episode today. So all the sports fans, Sports Talk is McKinney fans, thank you so much for following us. We are going to be on a little vacation for a couple weeks, but when we come back, we got a lot to talk about. Interviews in the work, meeting with managers and making calls and doing whatever. We're looking for an exciting Season 3 when we come back in a few weeks. We're going to start Season 3 of Sports Talk is McKinney with a bang, but we'll see everyone in a couple weeks.